What's going on, everybody? Andarki Namaskaram. My name is Prithvi Ganesh Maburi. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Masalainurdosa Presents. Today, we're going to have a really, really special guest with us today. It's going to be Mr. Vijay Selai. Vijay is the CEO of a company, OrganiK 9, Organic Canine, if you will. We're going to delve into what his company does, how he got started with it, because I really love the story of a business idea that comes to somebody, a business idea that is just very organic, as his platform suggests, or his company name suggests, and and something that really hits close to our homes. There's Jenny there, and because we both have dogs and we both subscribe to BarkBox, so dogs are a really big part of our lives, and Vijay's company does great work with that. So we're going to get started off with that. While we wait for him to join, I just want to thank everybody for the support that I've been getting. This is a passion project that I've started on the side, and the response has been great, and I've had such a good South Asian community, as well as the Telugu community. Today here's our guest, Mr. Vijay Selai. How's it going, man?
Hey, how you doing?
Good, good. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, of course, man. Thanks for having me. Truly appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah, so for everybody joining us just now, this is another episode of Masalainurdosa Presents, where we highlight and focus various members in the South Asian community, talk about and highlight the really interesting and cool things that they're doing, and talking a little bit about identity. But Vijay here, as I had mentioned before, is the CEO of a company called OrganiK 9 or Organic Canine. Vijay, how do I say it?
Yeah, it's actually Organic Canine. But before we get started, man, I just want to congratulate you and the future missus.
Yeah.
Guys, all the best. It's a beautiful journey you're going to be on, and congratulations again.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate you saying that.
Of course.
Yeah, but
So
yeah.
Called Organic Canine.
Organic Canine. Okay, cool, awesome. So Vijay, let's get things started. So tell us a little bit about yourself, like.
For sure, yeah. So, I was born in India, but we moved here when I was about 5 years old. So you could technically say I was raised here, California, all my life, and followed the traditional Indian model of education. And at some point I said, no, that's not for me. And and so I started Organic Canine, and I'll dive into how that idea came about. But yeah, it was just breaking the mold, man. It was breaking the cultural mold of who we're supposed to be, what path we're supposed to follow, and it just wasn't for me. And
Yeah. No, definitely. I've met so many others who have, like, at least maybe when we were growing up, I think it's a little harder to kind of vie for or fight for, like, the non-traditional route, and to what we're supposed to be. But I think what I see now is that we're accepting this new identity and new culture of South Asian Americans, rather than what we are thought to be, what we're fed to be, as like kind of like this is our path, this is our mold,
right.
which is really awesome to see. And I'd love to hear a little bit more about how you did that. But yeah, so tell us a little bit about Organic Canine. What is it?
Sure.
What do you guys do?
How it came about was, my career and background was in finance, and that's what I went to undergrad in. That's what I did my master's in. So it was always finance and banking. And you realize quickly in corporate is you got to have the complexion for the connection, man, as I say it.
Yeah.
If you're trying to move up and trying to move up and trying, you get you hit a ceiling. So I always wanted management experience. And one day, one of my good clients, he was expanding his business, which is a nutraceutical manufacturing facility. So, they make protein bars, supplement powders, capsules, you name it, they manufacture that. And
Right.
he was expanding his facility, and he came to me for the lending. And so, we helped him out with that whole process, which took about a year. And
Mm-hmm.
in the process, we built a great rapport. And he's like, why don't you come take over my current facility?
Mm.
And as I move on to the new one, you take over this one. So I said, great. I wanted that experience. So I left finance. I went there to give that a shot.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a whole new environment. It was a whole new industry, but there was a lot to learn, and I enjoyed that learning curve. And one day I'm sitting at home, I'm eating a protein bar, and my dog is looking at me, and
Mm-hmm.
I was like, let me give her a piece. And maybe if I give her a piece, she'll go away. So I gave her a piece. She went off, enjoyed it, and came right back for another one,
Uh-huh.
over and over and over. And you know what? And that got me thinking, because I take my dog out for hikes, and a lot of people are hiking out here in California. The
Yeah.
problem is you've got to pack dog food, you got to pack water. It becomes a hassle.
Yeah.
Let's create a protein bar for dogs and humans. So if I'm out hiking, I could have a bite, and I could give a bite to my dog. You know,
Wow.
make it organic, human grade, and safe for both of us.
Yeah.
I had this facility at my disposal, so I said, let's do it. So we started manufacturing it. I pitched the idea to the team. They loved it, created the
Yeah.
brand OrganiK. And, at that time, I was at a gym with a private trainer, and me and him, we had another client as well.
Yeah.
And I was, fast forward now, is my investor and partner in this whole thing. So from there, we
Mm-hmm.
we grew Organic Canine. You go into any retailer now, from pet specialty retailers to your Walmart, Costco, you'll start seeing our products throughout. And we've expanded into pet beds, your dog toys, dog bowls, you name it, anything pet. What we're doing now. So
That is awesome. It just all started with your dog just nibbling on a protein bar and a thought. That's
yeah, yeah.
brilliant, man.
It started with an idea that I said, let's try it. If it works, fantastic. If it doesn't, well, what's the harm? You lose some time, you lose some money. That's okay. You can
Yeah.
time, yeah, but the experience you get in that time, you can apply it for future endeavors. But money, you can always make money back. So there was
Yeah.
no, you just got to take those risks sometimes.
Absolutely. And I think that's a lesson that is just not in the corporate realm, but also in anything really, whether you're pursuing movies, art, music, or any sort of side product. I think that is something that's just so um, uh, pan applicable. It's applicable to all things that, you
Right.
can just, but in that there's something a little scary in like taking that first step,
Oh,
like,
yeah, yeah, no, it's definitely scary, because that first year I launched the line is also the year that I got married. So
oh, yeah.
the marriage life, and dedicate time to your wife, and also dedicate time to a startup in the same year. It's insane, and I would never recommend it to anybody. It was one of the best things that happened. Both of them in the same year, and I think when you marry the right partner, going back to you and your future wife, when you marry the right partner, they will motivate you, they'll encourage you, they'll give you all the right steps and guidance without even knowing it, man. And so
Yeah.
it's a blessing in disguise.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's very true. But like, could you get into a little bit more of like what are sort of the mental barriers or any hurdles that you had to surmount to make your company Organic Canine
Yeah.
happen?
Well, the biggest mental barrier was our own cultural mental barrier, from our parents and family. And when you tell them you're leaving a solid career, a solid foundation to go make dog treats,
Yeah.
like, what's wrong with this guy? Like, is he on drugs? Is he what's going on? Like, dog
Yeah.
treats. And for my parents, their mindset was always this: you go to school, you get a solid education, and you get married, you start a family, you build up your career, and when it's done, you start a business. Like at that point, who the hell wants to start a business? Like your life is halfway through. Like
Yeah.
that was their idea and their thinking. You can't blame them. You think about where they came from and their background, and they came to a country where they knew nobody. They had no solid job. They didn't have hardly
Hmm.
any. So you telling a person like that to take a risk, they're like, why would you take a risk? You have everything you need here. We're giving you stability. Why are you going to
Yeah.
leave stability to go risk it? So I get it. I get it. And I can't fault them for thinking like that, but I'll
Hmm.
let that hold me back from what I want to do.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, all everything's said and done, I can't go back to them and blame them. Hey, you said not to take this risk. And they're like, well, you're grown enough. You're old enough to take a risk, so why not?
Right.
So that was the biggest hurdle, is that getting over that South Asian or Indian cultural, just that mindset of don't take risks, go with something stable,
Right.
and but at some point you got to do it, and that's what I said. When you're young, take that risk. Don't worry about the cultural thing. Don't worry about aunties, uncles. Don't worry about any of that. Just take it.
Hmm.
Because if you succeed, guess what? They're still going to be there, and they're going to say, "Oh, I remember when you first started." Yeah, I get it, but and it's on you at the end of the day. It's your life. You decide
Right.
what you want, and you go for it. And so that's what I did here. I went for it,
Hmm.
and yeah, there was that challenge, and there's you never start a business. So how do you start? What do you do? What's the first steps? And it's just trial by error, and
Yeah.
you keep trying. You keep trying. If one thing doesn't work, okay, you go another route. That doesn't work, go another route, and eventually
Hmm.
you'll want it. I mean, and then I think that's in anything, not just business, but sports, art, you name it. Something you're trying for the first time, you're not going to get it. You got to keep going over and over and over until you finally do succeed.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. So, what were some of like the things that you needed to get in line to make the initial product was the protein bar, right? Like with the
Yeah, yeah.
human grade and whatnot. What were some of the things that you needed to? Did you know that you were going to start a company out of this, or like what was your like vision of this thing? You
You
just
know,
had an idea, but yeah.
idea. I didn't know where it was going to go, and I didn't know how the biggest thing is funding. You
Hmm.
know, anybody starting a business, make sure your capital is right. I get the whole thing about bootstrapping and hitting the streets. I get it, but at some point you need. Hold on, I'm sorry. I'm just reading a message from one of my high school friends.
Yeah.
I'll definitely reach out to you after. He's a great
Yeah.
guy. He's so much for his own community where he's living,
Yeah.
and overall just a fantastic person. Uh, but back to this, yeah, I mean, I didn't know, and funding was the biggest issue. A lot of people, they start a business and they get to a point where how much of my own capital money can I keep putting into this thing? Where I
Hmm.
still maintain your mortgage, your whatever, your personal finances, but at the same time, you're trying to do a startup, and at some point, that's just gonna, that's your ceiling. You're gonna hit that ceiling, and then you're stuck. So
Hmm.
was the biggest struggle. How am I going to do that? And secondly, after is your distribution. I mean, if it's a product, is how do I get my product out to people?
Hmm.
How is that going to happen? So it's a learning curve, and you got to understand the market that you're going to go into. You got to understand your product, and I mean, yeah, there's no limits to whatever product you have, and don't limit yourself. If you see, if I'm going to come out with a cup, for example, something like this,
Hmm.
there are hundreds and hundreds of cups out there, but what's different about yours? So
Hmm.
don't limit yourself. Just get out there and try it. Like I said, what's the worst that could happen? You lose some time and you lose some money. What's
Right.
a learning experience? And that's what I had, was a learning experience. And you failed the first few times. We failed on the product because we didn't understand. We didn't understand the market. We didn't understand where to price these things at. We didn't understand was it going to work or not. But we attempted it, and we got feedback. We made the changes. We went back, made the changes, and now we're at a point
Hmm.
we understand the market. We understand what works.
That's awesome. Cool. So here we have Mohan. He is a budding director, but he has a question for you. How is your brand dealing with Corona? Have sales slumped for your retail purchases? Are you guys thinking of focusing on e-tailing at the moment?
To be honest, this whole coronavirus thing has boosted our business because everybody's
Mm,
sitting at home. Everybody has to take care of their pets
yeah.
and more time with their pets. So
Mm-hmm.
it's been a great thing for us. And yeah, e-commerce has always been there, but I think this whole coronavirus has really amplified it. And so now what you see is, all these small mom and pop pet shops, they're going
Mm-hmm.
for, they've never done it in the past because the experience of buying, stuff for your pet is you want to take your dog into that store. You want them to
Mm-hmm.
run through the aisles. You want,
Yeah.
and so, yeah, a lot of some of our smaller partners are going to e-commerce and we're helping them with that.
Mm-hmm.
Those are pushing e-commerce. So yeah, e-commerce has always been on our mind, and it's something that we've always done. But now we're amplifying that even more.
Okay. Nice. That's awesome. Um, and then we have JRPW Services. This is my fiance, Jenny here. She's
Uh,
asking, I feel like that the hardest part is once you have a product. How do you tell the world? Great
social
question.
media is the biggest platform and the most. It's free at the end of the day. You
Yeah.
know, it's so get your word out there, start connecting, and and that's one thing that I wish I can go back and do a little bit better is networking. Network. That is the biggest thing. You don't know who's connected to who. And of
Mm-hmm.
course, have relationships with people. I mean, don't just have relationships thinking they're going to help you out because they might have zero connections to whatever it is you're doing, but you never know. So, network is the biggest thing. Social media, the platform is free, so use it. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you have to get creative and, come out with different challenges, whatever it is. If it's a product or a service, whatever your, thing is, you got to get creative. How am I going to
Mm-hmm.
network with people? But once you start networking, you see the chain grow, then it's all word of mouth at that point.
Absolutely. That's very true. I think I've definitely experienced that just in my short time starting this platform.
Hmm.
Just the number of people you meet and their backgrounds, and like just having mini conversations with them, like you kind of get an idea as to like, oh, I never knew that like my platform can grow this way or in this direction.
Yeah,
And you get, yeah, and
exactly. You
each
don't,
and
and opportunities might arise in all sorts of fields. For example, right now with the whole COVID, and I mentioned all these small pet stores are going to e-commerce. Well, guess what?
mm-hmm,
They who could build out a website for them. They need somebody who could manage their social media. They need somebody to promote their stores. And mom and pop pet shops are not owned by corporate. They're owned by a mom and pop who have never even gone online to set up their own website. So that
right,
gives opportunities for these website developers and social media, influencers and marketeers to
mm-hmm,
go and reach out to them and say, hey, I would love to promote your website. I would love to build a website. I'd love
mm-hmm,
to build out a page for you on social media. And if your business is marketing, reach out to them. And you reach out
mm-hmm,
to 2, 3 stores or even 5 stores, offer them a free service. I wouldn't start charging people so early on in the game, especially if you're starting out, because you
mm-hmm,
have nothing to show for it. You don't have a portfolio. But reach out to
mm-hmm,
5 stores, build up their platform for them, and use
mm-hmm.
then take it to other customers and say, look what I did for these 5 guys. Now you have a price that you can actually charge people based on your
Nice.
so there's opportunities even in downtimes like this. You just have to think outside the box.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, so so now you have organic canine, you have like the protein bar that both you and your dog can have.
Right.
Now you also mentioned that you're getting into pet products. Like, is that a different company or a different line under the same thing?
Yeah,
Uh,
that's all under the same company, but the brand is different. So, our pet beds, pet toys, pet bowls, and all are under Wag and Wiggle.
okay.
And so that'll be for both cats and dogs. So that, our bowls are already in Walmart, and our beds are same thing. You go to Walmart, you go to TJ Maxx, Marshalls, all those guys. Most of our
Hmm.
pet beds are already in there.
That's
And
awesome.
with Organic Canine, we're in the process of launching a meat-free jerky. So vegan
Okay.
jerky. yeah, vegan treats for dogs, and we'll see.
Nice.
I mean, it's a niche product. It's an interesting little idea, but we're in the final stages of it, and we're looking forward to see how that goes. Because pet buyers, if you think about it, we buy based on our interest first.
Yeah.
You go to a store and you see a dog toy, you're not thinking about, is my dog gonna love? No, you think about it as, oh, that's a cute toy. I like that. That's funny.
Yeah.
And then we go home and see if our dog, enjoys it and whatnot. And then if they enjoy it, then you're coming back and you're buying that. Same thing with this vegan line is a lot of people are going that route. If they're
Yeah.
going to, they're guaranteed they're going to look into that option for their pets as well. So we're selling to the pet owner first, but we're making sure the treats are enjoyed by the dogs, that the dogs will actually enjoy it. And then they can come back and the owners will feel good about, okay, my dog likes it. I'm happy with the product. I'm happy with what they're doing. I'm a repeat customer now.
That's awesome. Great. So, organic canine wag and wiggle, guys. Like keep that in mind when you go out shopping for your pets next. I know I will.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, what is something that you wish somebody had told you when you started off in this entrepreneurial journey? Or what would you tell your younger self, I guess?
Younger self, man, to be honest, take the risk. Don't, that's my biggest thing is take the risk and take it early on, whatever it is. I mean, if it doesn't even have to be in business, just whatever you're passionate about, do it. Follow your
Hmm.
passion. Don't worry about, like I said, what they're going to say or what this person's going to say and what they're going to think and what this person's going to think. Don't worry about that because at the end of the
Yeah.
day, that's their thought and that's their opinion. They're entitled to it. It's okay. But
Hmm.
that doesn't limit you because you don't want to let time go by and you're letting people's opinions and their thoughts limit you from growing into what could be something amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's the biggest thing is don't let that limit you from doing what you want to do.
Very true.
And
Very
be,
true.
and if certain, is if your personality is like this, and don't let other people's opinions stop you from being who you are.
Yeah. Very, very solid advice. That certainly hits close to home for me too.
Good, good.
Awesome. Awesome. So how can people connect with you and your brand? How can they be in tune with you?
Yeah, I mean, social media. Like I said, this is the first sort of podcast interview thing. I typically don't talk about my business much online. I don't. I mean, on my own platform, yeah, we have Instagram and other things for our brands, which we're growing at the moment. Um, but yeah, anything else, if people want business advice or whatever it is, they could reach out to me directly. And
Hmm.
love helping out other entrepreneurs, guiding
Hmm.
hey, this is the mistakes that I made, but here you
Yeah.
this because I even if somebody's launching their own pet line, I would love to help them because I'm not looking at them as a competition or a threat or whatever it is. I love to
Hmm.
help other entrepreneurs do better because then
Yeah.
I could learn from them, even if they're just starting out. So, yeah,
Hmm.
entrepreneurs or just in life in general, if they were seeking advice and things, I think social media is always a good option to reach out.
Awesome. Well, that's beautiful. That's absolutely true. Like I always love to put on other creators and entrepreneurs and definitely can learn from each other. Very true.
Exactly.
Any yeah, anything else that you'd like to share about yourself or actually who's can we meet the pup that inspired you or tell us a bit about her?
That's actually a sad story.
Oh.
We had, no, well, not too sad, but we had me and my wife. I mean, we had our first kid, our daughter, about she's 19 months now, and
Mm,
early on, see, our dog it's a husky, and
mm,
we're huskies, and their hair just all over the place. And
mm,
with the newborn, it was difficult to manage all that hair around a newborn.
mm.
Give the dog off to a close friend, and
Okay.
yeah, luckily, I mean, they're close by, so we're able, if we want to see him, we could always see her. But
Okay.
we're waiting for her to be at least 2, 3 years old before we get the dog back into the home. But
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a true inspiration. Her name was Nala, and now
Nala?
every little dog toy we have for our daughter, it's her name is Nala as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Awesome. Very cool. Very cool. But yeah, anything else you'd like to share? Or
Yeah, man. No, I think your platform, it's you have an amazing platform. I think what you're doing is great. I'm looking forward to seeing, future interviews and just your future growth as well. Growing up, like I said, being raised here, I didn't appreciate our culture. In fact,
hmm
I away from our culture. Being raised here, you're looking to mold into the culture that is here in the U.S.
Yeah.
Especially in California, it's a melting pot. We
Yeah.
don't we didn't have too many Indians, but you have a mix of other races, Hispanic, African American, Asian. So you're trying to mold into whatever is happening. And it's funny because Saturdays here in LA, there's a TV channel that plays like Indian music at 10 a.m.
hmm
And we didn't have cable and all that, so at 10 a.m. my parents were zoomed in on that thing, connected. But
hmm
that's my friends would want to come over, knock on the door to come, ride by. And when they'd come knock, I'm like, oh shit, like turn this down. Like this is embarrassing. What are you guys doing?
Yeah.
But fast forward to college, as you know, on stage at culture shows and performing with the AP like dance team, like Indian, like my parents and family and friends are like, "What was this the same guy?" Like at one point, he was so embarrassed of, you know,
Yeah.
music, and now he's on stage, like it's so. I think our culture, we have a very beautiful culture, man, compared to, I wouldn't say compared to what's out there. Every culture is beautiful as well. But, our culture is
hmm
just truly beautiful. And
hmm
that's something I want to implement to my daughter as she gets older is, take her back home to India, show her around, different states, different people, how
hmm
people live in different areas of India. But just overall, yeah, it's an amazing, amazing culture that we have.
Yeah.
And it's some things do get lost in traditions, and traditions can really screw up people's mindsets. And I think each family, as they go through their generation, let them have their own tradition, whatever it is. If they want to take something
Yeah.
out and cultivate and mold it to times of today, great,
hmm
but that's fine. But overall, yeah, I mean, we have a beautiful culture, and that's something that, like I said, I ignored early on, but now I
hmm
fully embrace it. And the same thing, I'm going to pass it down to my daughter, and what she does with it, that's her thing. But I want her to be
Yeah.
aware. Hey, this is who we are, and this is what we are, and what you do with it, that's up to you. And if you want to mold it for your future and your life, go for it.
I
So
think that's very well said. You're 100% right. I think growing up in a predominantly white high school, I also felt that same sort of like inferiority complex around my culture.
right,
And just if my mom packed like a dosa or puri for lunch,
yeah,
like I think I tried that, like because I liked no, that's okay. I liked those foods, so she packed it for lunch, and then like and I
right.
would be called like curry boy or something, or
Oh
like, oh,
man,
what is that? Like, or, and I would feel some type of way. And so that was definitely on the back burner until like I really kind of uh, started feeling out and filling out my identity once I got into undergrad.
yeah,
Just like for everybody, Vijay is on like one of my favorite all-time Bungar teams, APD, Anak Punjabi, out of California. Amazing, amazing dancers, and they've like literally legendary stunts on stage, which I continue to listen to their mixes and videos. But in a similar fashion, I definitely got a little bit more comfortable with my identity through dance, through music, through in that sense. But I think it's really important to continue to have these conversations, Vijay. Like, your background, I never thought that I would sit here
Mhm.
with an entrepreneur that's in the pet food or pet product industry at all. Like, I mean, I have dogs. Like, we love animals in our family, and it's something that we connect with. But I never thought like, I would meet somebody and have this conversation with that. And like, and the things that we've discussed today are applicable to everybody.
Yeah,
Just taking that risk, taking that first step,
yeah,
and whether it's I find it very close to home, whether it was me starting this platform or you starting your business. And I have so many thoughts now of what my next steps are going to be, not just in this platform, but me professionally.
Yeah.
Like, now having heard you taking steps in my platform, I think it becomes easier to take those quote unquote risky steps,
Yeah.
which, if I probably went to my parents before I started this,
Right.
or maybe if you went to your parents, or be like, hey mom, hey dad, like I'm gonna do this. What do you think? Like,
Yeah.
maybe that conversation would be a hell of a lot different than
Oh
like
yeah.
when I went to my parents and I said, hey, I started this. This is what I'm doing,
Yeah. Yeah.
and this is kind of the response. And like, that was a completely different conversation. Do you agree?
I don't know. I completely agree. Because see, if we go to them for approval, once again, they're going to tell you based on their experience. You have
Mm-hmm.
stability. Why would you leave the stability to do a podcast? Like, what are you talking about? And you see that'll creep into your mind, even if you ignore that and you decide to do it. And the first podcast hits, and maybe two people listen to it. You're like, oh shit, maybe you know what, they're right. I shouldn't have done. Yeah. So what's the point? What's the point of
Yeah.
going for that permission? Like, do it. It's okay. Like, and if you succeed, guess what? They're going to be proud. And if you don't, guess what? They're still going to be proud that you even tried. Like,
Yeah.
you know, but forget if they're proud or not. Are you proud of what you did? And
Mm-hmm.
that's the biggest thing. At the end of the day, I really don't care. And my wife will, attest to this. I don't care for people's. I respect their opinion, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't care so much that it's going to affect what I do,
Yeah.
and the decisions that I make. So yeah, I respect my parents' opinions of, hey, get settled and then start your business. But fast forward, I launched it anyways, and we're successful, but
Mm-hmm.
based on the risks that I took. So
Cool.
respect people's opinions, that's fine. But at the end of the day, make sure you follow your passion, you follow what you want to do,
Mm-hmm.
because you're accountable for your future, not our parents, not aunties and uncles, not anybody else, just ourselves. So
Yeah.
20, 30 years from now, if you're sitting at home and, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that, well, you have yourself to blame for that, not anybody else, regardless of what, people say.
Very true. Very true. Well, thank you so much, Vijay, for your words of wisdom. I can't wait to see what other things that you have in store. I can't wait to look for your products at the store when I get there, and hopefully get some stuff for my pup as well. And I'd love to continue supporting
Yeah.
you.
No, no,
Um,
appreciate it, man. I truly do. Send me your address after. I'll get some stuff out to you.
yeah,
Uh, like I said, you have a great platform. What you're doing is very interesting. I love it. Keep going with it.
yeah,
I think your professional life will definitely, take most of your time, but it seems like what you're doing is fantastic, man. And I think it's a great platform for people who might need to hear it. I mean, there might be somebody there that just is on the edge, like, and
yeah,
whatever. When you're a guest, that's going to give them that confidence, like, wow, okay, this is what I need.
exactly,
And
exactly.
that one bit of advice, and that's it. Their life has changed around. So,
Hmm.
oh, man, I love it.
Very true. Thank you so much, Vijay. Thank you so much for joining us.
Of course.
Um, all right. Well, that's it for today's episode, guys. I will be posting this on my IGTV as usual, as well as on my YouTube channel. You can find the link up in the bio. And go down to this post. I'll be linking Vijay's Instagram account, as well as any media accounts that Organic Canine may have, for all your pet needs, I suppose. And please make sure to join us tomorrow for another interview. Our guest tomorrow, really exciting, Snigdha Nandipati, aka Sandy Spell. She is an amazing, amazing musician and producer in the dance team circuit, and is doing some amazing things with her music, which she'll get into how she found her identity through her music. So tune in for that tomorrow. I'll be posting the times and everything tomorrow. But once again, Vijay, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you everybody for joining us for another episode.
Thank you,
Take
man.
care.
Take care.
Bye.